Top five, top five, top five.
So topical back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. Today we're doing top 5 stand-ups turned actors in honor of About My Father with Sebastian Maniscalco and double whammy Bert Chrysler's The Machine.
Kreshner.
He doesn't deserve to get his name said correctly. He sucks.
He does suck. I don't like him.
He has 2 good jokes, and it's not The Machine. But I'm not gonna get on that. I don't like that dude so much because he's fucking everywhere. He's like fucking. I said I wasn't gonna get into it, but he is like fucking Star Wars.
No, he's the new Kevin Hart.
I can't escape the motherfucker. He's everywhere. I want to watch Tom Segura. Boom, there's Bert. I want to watch Joey Diaz. Oh, there's Bert. I want to watch Joe Rogan talk to his stand-up friends instead of those weirdo conspiracy ones because I don't like those. Boom, there's Bert. Even when he's not on a podcast, he gets brought up. He's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And he laughs. I hate his fucking laugh. That little wheezing thing he does.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking, that guy's the worst.
I'm not a fan either.
He reminds me of Chris. I love Chris. But very similar. Anyways, 2 stand-up comedians have movies come out this weekend, so what a better time to do this list. He'll tell you how the list works, and then we're jumping to the top 5.
He's going to start with his 5 and 4. I'll give my 5 and 4, 3-2, 3-2, then we trade off number ones. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule, which just means if we both have the same person on our list, but one person has it 2 spots or higher, we just talk about it once when we get to it on theirs.
Usually when we do this is our favorites. This time it's a little bit different because this is more of a non-biased list for me.
Yeah, so Dane Cook's your number 1.
Who?
Dane Cook.
Gross. So, the rule I made for myself is they have to have an equally good career in both to make it on my list.
Okay.
So, number 5 for me is going to be Chris Rock.
That's my number 5.
A lot of really good stand-up specials.
Yeah.
Even when he was making movies, he would still go back and do an HBO special every now and again. And Chris Rock is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's really funny.
And that transferred over to his movies, his older age. He dabbles in dramedies. I don't think there's a role I've seen him other than Fargo, and I haven't seen Fargo, where he plays a straight-up drama or something else.
Yeah.
I can think of off the top of my head.
Oh, well, he's in that, the crime movie. The one with the weird aspect ratio. I keep forgetting it.
Oh, No Sudden Move?
Yes, No Sudden Move.
Okay, well, he's in that. I have seen that. I mean, I wouldn't really call his role a big part of the movie.
No, but it's pretty straight.
Oh, I was talking about something else.
Oh, okay.
I was talking about when he played Pookie.
Oh.
And he's a crackhead.
Yeah.
But that's not really...
Fifth Element?
That was Chris Tucker.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Chris is Chris.
Yeah. So
everybody hates Chris.
That is true. That is the right Chris. So because his stand-up is all very good, his movies are a little bit lackluster, which is why I have a 5 spot.
Yeah.
One of the stronger stand-up comedians on my list, but weak movies.
Yeah. I feel the exact same way. That's why he was number 5 on mine. He's hilarious. He's super well known for his stand-up, but also well known for his like screen time and stuff. So,
for sure.
But the quality of movies that he's made is they didn't really have like lasting impressions on me. Like I have people on my list who made not good movies, but because of the time they came out when I was younger, they still like mean something to me, even if they're not good. But he just didn't have that. So.
Yeah. Like, I really love Rodney Dangerfield. Amount of movies.
Yeah.
Not there.
What about Don Rickles?
I love Don, but amount of movies not there. Like his most famous role, he's a fucking potato.
Yeah.
So, number 4. Honestly, I don't think his stand-up's that funny. I think when he dives into a character, he's really good.
Yeah.
Robin Williams will be my number 4.
Oh, that's a big Zemeckis.
Okay, big Zemeckis. You're 4.
My number 4 is Jim Carrey.
did not make my list.
Yeah, that's fair. I had similar rules. My rules just they had to be mine is not less. Mine is more personal. I wasn't as objective as he was. So it's definitely more so my favorites. But my other rule was they had to have been known for comedy before, or at least before or while acting. But it had to be more than just SNL, because that's that could almost be its own list, really.
Yeah.
But Jim Carrey did a ton of stand up. He was a mainstay at a lot of LA comedy clubs and stuff like that. And then obviously did In Living Color, which is sort of SNL but not. But yeah, the quality of his movies, if you're being completely objective, is not super great. But Dumb and Dumber is like top 10 movie of all time for me. Truman Show is probably at least a top 50 of all time for me. It could be top 25. I'd really have to sit down and think about it. And even though I don't think they're necessarily good movies, the like Pet Detective movies have special places for me because of what, like, my age when they came out. The Mask absolutely has a special place in my heart just because of when it came out. So his movies really mean something to me. They are lacking in quality to a certain degree, and he's maybe not by now Jim Carrey is much more known as an actor than he was necessarily as a comedian, but he did still have that beforehand. So
that's why he didn't make my list, because I feel like he was more famous on Living Color than a stand-up.
Yeah.
Because if you see his old stand-up clips, it's literally just him doing impressions of people.
Right.
So I was like, not enough stand-up.
The reason I gave him a nudge is because even during In Living Color and into the 90s, he would still go do stand-up sets every once in a while.
I used that throughout.
Yeah.
But I've never seen one of Jim Carrey that like really impressed me personally.
Sure.
Number 3 might be a shocker. Eddie Murphy.
It's not two.
2 of the greatest stand-up specials of all time.
Sure.
Clearly! No debating!
4 to 6 good years of movies.
Yeah.
He did not stop making movies.
He did not stop. He made a lot of stinkers.
A lot of stinkers. He's not batting 500.
No.
Even his good movies went on to have really shitty sequels.
Mm-hmm.
Beverly Hills Cop 3. Nobody wants to watch that shit.
No, they don't. But I'll watch Beverly Hills Cop 1 all day.
Don't even really want to watch Beverly Hills Cops 2.
Yeah.
Nutty Professor has its moments.
Not a fan.
But that's one of those, you watch it young enough, you're going to find little things funny about that movie.
Right. I know people that defend Norbit. Get out! But it's just because they were 6 years old when it came out and their mom let them watch it. And so when you're 6, you think that shit's hilarious.
Oh, like it was really funny when like,
yeah.
Oh, right in the blowhole. Like, we used to quote that shit all the time. But
right.
That's still an awful fucking movie.
It's terrible, really bad.
But because of that, not batting 500, I had to put him at my number 3. Staying up, though, I mean, Chappelle, Murphy, Pryor.
Some of the GOATs, for sure.
Like, if you look at, like, wide... Well, maybe people are very divisive on Chappelle now, but...
Yeah. I feel like Chappelle, like, his stand-up, like, Killing Them Softly, way up there. It was super popular when it came out. But it was also still, like, at the height of the Chappelle Show.
Yeah.
I just feel like people know him more for the Chappelle Show than they do his stand-up.
Yeah. He didn't make my list.
Yeah. Mine neither.
His 3 movies? 4? Doesn't have enough.
What else?
Number 2 might be a little controversial.
Okay.
Adam Sandler.
I'm not going to argue with you about Sandler because I think that the argument that I would make based on our rules is the same that you could make about my number 3. So,
same thing with Eddie Murphy. Even though Eddie Murphy had better stand-up, Sandler went back and Jim Carrey'd it. And, I'm famous making movies already. I'm going to have a stand-up special here. I'm going to have a stand-up special here.
The only stand-up special of Adam Sandler's that I even remotely remember is just like the thing he did after 8 Crazy Nights, where it was like mostly musical.
Well,
but
What's also very different too.
Yeah.
He had the Netflix special that killed.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't watch it, but I'm sure it's very
It's
good.
really good, actually. He just has a longer tender of
Yeah.
stand-up, which is why I gave him the nudge. I feel like he does have more. I am not saying they're better movies, but if you take all the great Eddie Murphy movies and all the great Adam Sandler movies, or even good Adam Sandler movies, Adam Sandler has more good movies than Eddie Murphy does.
Mm-hmm.
So by quantity and consistency, I gave Sandler the nudge barely. And it's not because I'm wearing a Happy Gilmore shirt, but Happy Gilmore's a very funny movie.
That's a fact.
And also, his stand-up and his movies, they have bits and pieces that related to one another.
Yeah.
And sometimes he would dabble in the music, which is more of his stand-up style.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I thought he transitioned that to the screen very well.
Yeah.
And he also didn't need to stand on it during his stand-up,
Right.
which I thought was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Like Murphy, he has Murphyisms in movies from his stand-up,
Yeah.
which
sure.
is fine. I love. If we're talking about the best stand-up comedians, Murphy blows Sandler out of the water.
Yeah, for sure.
We're talking about actors, it gets a little tight.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're on my number 3 now.
We are.
Yeah. So I guess for my list, it seems like you said that you did this. I didn't necessarily consider the quality of their stand up as much in my list as much as like, did you do enough stand up for me to consider you a stand up comedian at one point? And then how much do I like your movies? So I guess no stand up comedian turned actor list is complete without a white Jew. So you went with Sandler.
Yeah.
For mine, I went with Billy Crystal. I had never watched any of his stand-up before until I was making this list. And it was pretty funny. It's not hilarious, but it was pretty funny. But I also learned that he actually had a lot to do with like the stand-up renaissance in like the 80s and stuff like that, and like a lot of the comedy clubs in LA and all that stuff. And the reason I didn't put him higher, the 2 movies he's in are like, well, he's in way more than 2 movies.
Okay, I was about to say.
Yeah. Let me. I missed a word. The 2 movies he's in that I have seen the most, and will continue to watch. One is easily a top 10 movie of all time for me, and the other one is like probably at least a top 15 movie of all time for me. So I was like, I feel like I need to. For me personally, I got to put him on the list, but he definitely can't be higher than 3. So I went with 3. That being The Princess Bride and When Harry Met Sally.
Very fair.
But yeah, Billy Crystal's hilarious. I love when he's in movies.
You feel like he has a... Like, he didn't copy him because he's older than him, but if you had to relate his style to someone, he's kind of Jerry Seinfeld-esque in, like, delivery.
Yeah,
Like,
they're both very dry. Like,
tone.
his stand-up is very, like, Seinfeld-esque. And, like... And they're not that far apart in age. I mean, they both had a lot to do with, like, that stand-up, revival. So, yeah, I'd say they're pretty similar. But maybe it's just a white Jewish guy thing. I don't know.
No, Don Rickles is a white Jewish guy. That's one thing about this list. It was like, for me,
He's so much older than them.
my 4 and 5, you could have threw anyone in there. My, like, 3 to 1, these had to be in there.
Yeah.
And the order was very tight, except for my number 1. Well, never. They're all pretty tight.
Yeah.
Like, thinking about number 1. But there are really good stand-ups who's not in enough movies.
Yeah.
Or you have the Billy Crystal case. What's a Billy Crystal bit? What was his HBO special called? What was his Showtime special called?
Oh, he did like 3 HBO specials.
What are they called?
But yeah, like I said, that's just the difference in our list.
Yeah.
You considered their stand-up career more, and I was just
Yeah.
like,
I try to have
like
like an even, you know?
Yeah.
I would have loved to put Ray Romano on this list.
Yeah.
But Welcome to Moosetown ain't cutting it.
Yeah,
out.
right. Yeah.
So
I mean, he's great in The Irishman.
he is very good in Irishman. And Funny People.
Yeah. Oh, and The Big Sick.
He's phenomenal.
You
in
love The Big Sick.
I do love The Big Sick. But that was his number 3,
And then my number 2 was Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy. Did you talk about Eddie Murphy?
Maybe it's really similar. Not comparing their careers necessarily, but he was really similar to me in kind of the same way that I talked about Jim Carrey. You know, in the last 20 years, has Eddie Murphy made 5 good movies? No. I don't even know if he's made 3 or 2. I don't really have to think about it. But the movies of Eddie Murphy's that I like, I really freaking like those movies. Like Coming to America, phenomenal. Trading Places, phenomenal. Kindergarten Cop, Beverly Hills Cop, very, very good.
Daddy Daycare might be his last good movie.
Daddy Daycare is a good movie. I really like that. And even when I was a kid, I definitely don't have as much of a nostalgic connection or attachment as I do to like the Jim Carrey movies. But like when I was a kid, Dr. Dolittle was a big deal.
Okay. Yes.
And like
I thought you were gonna say Meet Dave or Pluto or whatever that shit movie
Pluto
was.
Nash.
He did have a movie called Meet Dave or something Dave.
Something like that, yeah. And like and honestly, I think the first movie, like to me, Eddie Murphy, like if you asked 8-year-old me who your top 5 favorite actors are, like Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler, and Eddie Murphy were probably going to be like top 3. So, and then I probably still Harrison Ford, and he's still in my top 5. So, but yeah, I think the last Eddie Murphy movie I watched, and the one that was like, I guess that maybe he's not all that great, was like Haunted Mansion.
Gross.
Yeah.
I saw that in the theaters.
Yeah, and even young me was like, this is not a good movie.
Did you ever watch I Spy with him and Owen Wilson?
Yeah, where they like literally have the like thing in again, I loved when that movie came on FX or TBS or whatever it came on repeat for fucking ever. Like I watched it every time because it was so cool because they have the one scene where they drive the car up onto the trailer of the car loader, and Eddie Murphy's like boxing the dude on top of the car carrier thing. So, yeah, that movie's not great either, but I really liked it when I was little. Yeah.
I think this movie's just fine. Tower Heist is probably the last good Eddie Murphy movie.
Sure.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
Mr. Churchill?
Yeah.
Was it Mr. Church?
I don't know, something like
That
that.
drama movie he tried to do?
Yeah.
Didn't work out for him?
Coming to America, not a good movie.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
number 1 for me is going to be Richard Pryor. Stand up, impeccable, specials out the wazoo. Every stand up took something from Richard Pryor, probably. Your favorite comedian, my favorite comedian, probably took something from Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy took something from Richard Pryor. Dave Chappelle took something from Richard Pryor.
For sure.
Chris Rock. I mean, you name them, there probably was like, yeah, I got this one. Richard Pryor. Joey Diaz. Like, all these great comedians got a little something from Richard Pryor. And then you put that in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he's with someone like a Gene Wilder,
Yeah.
or he's behind the scenes writing, he is still fucking funny. He can be on his own and still be funny. The problem with Richard Pryor in his career is he didn't get to work with a lot of good talent because of his drug habits.
Right.
And he made bad movies. However,
Some bad movies.
Richard Pryor is still funny in those bad movies.
Right.
Richard Pryor.
I've only seen one Richard Pryor movie, which is why he's not on my list. So
What?
that I can think of. Maybe you'll name some more.
See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
That's the one that I've seen.
Silver Streak.
Nope. I think I've seen one of the other Gene Wilder movies.
Brewster Millions.
I don't know if I don't know if I've seen it or if I've just seen like watched a bunch of clips from it. But
Jeez.
See No Evil, Hear No Evil is freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's an incredible movie.
Superman 3. That's not good. But Richard Pryor, to me, even in those bad movies, he's still very funny. He does have classics under his belt. He's fucking hilarious. He was one of those guys as well who transitioned his comedy to his films with his tone and voice and reaction and things like that. Stir Crazy is another one. That's probably his and Wilder's best movie.
Maybe I have seen that.
But subject matter, it's like Pryor took his act and made it light and made it work for the film, because his style is very in the world he lives in, the politicalness, a lot of race humor, because that's just fucking hilarious no matter what decade. So what he saw around him was his stand-up, where in his films it was more, alright, I'm going to mold myself around the script. It's not a good movie because he made it himself and he's not a director.
Yeah.
But it is a good movie because the story's just so good. It's about his life, called JoJo Dancer. Very good movie. Not very good, but worth a watch. But like I said, he would have had a much better career if it wasn't for the cocaine.
Yeah. It's true.
Which leaves my Zemeckis.
Yep, which was Robin Williams, which is my number one. Yeah, I think he had kind of like a collective of all these things that everyone else had that mattered to me, and that he was very popular for his stand-up. I agree with you. I don't necessarily think that I think his stand-up is really that funny. Like, his golf bit is pretty funny to me, but I'm a golfer, so like it speaks to me in a sense.
Similar to Sandler. I'm making movies.
Yeah.
Let me throw in a special here.
Yeah.
Let me throw in a special here.
Yeah, for sure.
All of his movies aren't great. I'm not a huge fan of his.
What?
Aladdin, clear number 1.
Sure.
Jumanji, number 2.
I would have to go Good Will Hunting.
Oh, forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Diverse, probably the most diverse actor on our list.
Yeah.
Sandler, close second. Out of ours combined.
Mm-hmm.
But if my top 5 is 1 Hour Photos in there, Good Will Hunting's in there.
Yeah.
And then you get into the later half of his career.
Mm-hmm.
No one's watching Old Dogs.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing about these comedians is they get to a point where their movies just aren't funny anymore. They keep making them.
Yeah, it's true.
Except for Kevin Hart. They just keep making bad movies.
Right, yeah. And even, I think the thing is when these comedians, when they get older, like, comedy is just always evolving.
It's kind of like hip-hop.
Like, what we think is funny. Yeah.
Like, you gotta be hip.
Yeah.
To the... And comedians they don't do that.
It's true. But if they start doing more serious stuff, then it ends up being really good. Uncut Gems is a great example. Anytime Adam Sandler tries to make a funny movie now, it's not good. It just isn't good. Like, but Uncut Gems is incredible. Hustle is very good. And Robin Williams, he has Good Will Hunting. He was a little older then. And I think, 1 Hour Photo, he's a little bit older in that.
That was much older.
Yeah.
06, 07?
Yeah, something like that. And so when they make that transition to drama, I understand it's probably hard to let go of the thing that made you who you are, but it works really well. But Robin Williams, he just has a collective of all of these things. He has the serious movies in Good Will Hunting and 1 Hour Photo that I think are phenomenal. Good Will Hunting, top 10 movie all time for me. I love that movie so much. But then he also has that like nostalgic stuff from when I was a kid. Jumanji, like, for me, if I made a list of like most, like, just for me, I don't really know how to word this. If you combine rewatchability with just like personal enjoyment, Jumanji, like, if I made a list of movies that just had both of those elements, Jumanji's top 10 for me. This movie is terrible, but again, it was just right time. When I was a kid, I was freaking obsessed with Flubber. Like, I loved it. I cannot tell you how many times I watched that movie. And I think it's like, I don't know, it's like unlocked memory. Like, Flubber is just one of the first movies that I remember, like, feeling like an emotion other than just like, this is funny or this is entertaining. Because well, I can't even remember what his little robot's name is, but when like it gets smacked with a baseball bat and is like dying, like I freaking cried at that shit when I was a kid. Like,
Wow.
and it's like, so it's just like he just made these movies that were important. Mrs. Doubtfire is definitely up there. So he just has this like culmination that has like spanned through multiple parts of my life where he's made movies that like were important and mattered to me, and like he's a freaking madman. He's freaking wild. And so it's like, even though I don't necessarily think his stand-up is that funny, watching him just like how do you have that much energy? And I respect that because I wish I had even half the amount of energy that Robin Williams had, but I don't. So he's my number one.
Yeah, to me it was just, he did stuff in stand-up, but I feel like early career, his stand-up didn't do anything for him except get him Mork and Mindy, and Mork and Mindy's where he got his break and blew up.
Right.
And then he was like, also, I do stand-up.
Yeah.
And just throw it in there. Is there someone in there, I know I've named a few people, but is there like one person you want to put on your list but just didn't have enough material? I have two personally.
You go ahead.
Childish Gambino, Weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very good.
That's a good one.
Also
Yeah.
a comedy writer.
Mm-hmm.
Does mostly TV acting.
Yeah.
Some movies. Spider-Man didn't get enough of him in it
Yeah.
for it to really count for me. So didn't have enough of either to make my list.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Davidson, same thing.
Pete Davidson was the one that I was like, I want to put you on the list, but like Big Time Adolescence and King of Staten Island just aren't quite enough for me yet.
Two good starring movies.
Yeah.
There's a couple where you just see him flash here and there.
Yeah. And I also feel like, I mean, he definitely has stand-up, but he just feels more like an SNL person to me, and that was just one of my rules, so he probably wouldn't have made it anyways.
And his, like, say what you will about the guy, his biggest stand-up special only became huge because he was like, now's a good time to make a lot of fucking money responding to what Kanye West said about me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, but...
He's hilarious at all the Comedy Central roasts.
Yeah.
I love watching those clips. I've never watched like a full episode of a roast, but I love when the clips pop up.
Because some of those guys, you don't want to hear them. I don't want to hear Shaq tell jokes. My name is Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. You're
Rosie
right.
O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Let's fucking watch that.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
Peyton Manning's actually pretty funny when he's on them.
He's a funny looking motherfucker.
Yeah, and that's usually what they make fun of is his massive forehead.
He's a weird dude.
Yeah.
But let me know your top 5, or if we missed any in the comment section below. Is there a comedian we have on the list you totally disagree with? You gotta put it in the comments.
Yeah. Why should we have put Larry the Cable Guy on our list?
Yeah, dude. Delta Force, the health inspector,
Mater.
What was that other one? I don't know.
Yeah.
Scroll back up. Hit a like button, share the video,
And
subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.